rise for the pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the next item is approval of the agenda. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add or alter on the agenda?
If there's no changes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Support.
Moved and supported to approve the agenda as submitted. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Next item is approval of the minutes for the meeting of July 11th.
I make a motion, the minutes be approved as presented.
I'll support that.
Moved and supported to approve the minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. The next item is the financial report.
We began the month with $213,608.12. We took in receipts of $59,441.73. And we made disbursements in the amount of $188,959.76, leaving us with an ending balance in the general fund of $84,090.09.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the financial support report as submitted.
Support.
Moved and supported to approve the financial report as submitted. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I like how you did the stacked here. That's great for adding it up. That's,
Okay. If there's no other discussion, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Against? It's approved.
I
Okay.
do have a question.
Yeah.
What was the publication? There was receipts from a publication, is that, what is that?
That's when we put things in the newspaper
Yeah,
and they bill us, but then the person that we ran it for, like a special land use or variance,
oh, I got you.
they have to reimburse
So
us.
that's the reimbursement coming in, okay.
Yeah. Okay, no correspondence this evening. On to old business, item A is the park committee update. Tony?
Well, we have contacted, Joe and I,
yeah.
between the two of us, we've contacted some residents that we think might like to sit on the park committee and discuss planning of it. And we have called a meeting for the 14th of August, which is a Monday night at 7 o'clock. It will be posted on the doors of the office. Everyone is welcome to come and look at the overlay of the proposed property that we will purchase from Six Rivers Conservancy. And we will just get everyone's opinion on what might be nice use for this. I'm hoping, Joe, that once we get them in here and once they like the idea of sitting on a committee, that we might actually schedule a little field trip and,
Sure.
and take a look at the property.
Yeah.
This is all very preliminary. There's a lot of steps to this, but we have to begin somewhere.
Yeah.
And so this is where we're beginning.
Yeah, maybe sometime in the fall when the foliage is off, we
Mhm.
better look at the property.
Mhm. It's nice to see the overhead map that we will have available. We'll give everybody a chance to take home with them the Parks and Rec ordinances or description, and then we'll just put our heads together and see what we can come up with.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we have been approved for our Parks and Rec local millage. So we know that that's going to be in our back pocket, and we can count on that for another year, and we'll just begin at the beginning.
Yeah, it's Exciting.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, there's a question over.
Yeah, is that a portion of the money that comes from the county?
Yes,
Oh,
well,
I see.
it's our millage rate, and.
Not an extra assessment to us. It's gonna be.
Oh,
Okay, I
no,
gotcha.
no.
It's our, getting our portion back.
Yes,
I
it's
gotcha,
getting our
okay.
portion back and doing something. So anybody's welcome to come and sit in on the first, and we might even have people who say, oh, you know, this is a little bit too much involved for me, and they might step out, and maybe somebody else will step in, but it's a beginning.
Yeah, that was going to be my question, is anybody available to get on the committee if they want? or-
Yes,
Okay.
of course, yes, I mean, it's like pulling hen's teeth to get anybody to volunteer for anything. We don't know how complex this is going to get, and how long it's going to be. We have, if you look at my, interest income report, you can see that our Parks and Recreation Fund at the moment has $370,172.73, and we'll be adding about $17,000 to it per year. Now, the caveat to that is not getting in over our heads if in years to come, the voters in St. Clair County decide we don't want to fund Parks and Rec anymore, and then the maintenance of whatever we have created will fall back to our general fund. That we don't want to do. And we also have to, I think, create something that is useful, sustainable, and indestructible.
Does the county have any type of programs where they cohabitate with townships, where they'll do a,
Yeah, there's all.
instead of us trying to take this on ourselves?
Part
be
of what
better?
we'll be exploring, the grants that are available, the help from the county that's available, the help from the 4-H that might be available, all these things. That's what the committee is all about. And if we get so far as to have a firm set of people making a commitment, well, we might even create a Parks and Rec Planning Commission, which is a step above that.
Yeah, St. Clair County did done a phenomenal job of putting out their parks. I think it's one of the best parks in St. Clair
It
County.
is, it really is. If you were up to the 4-H fair in Goodles, what a magnificent property they have created up there for the kids, adults, weddings and graduations and all sorts of things go on up there in big buildings that are available to the public, and the fair itself is a great thing. And everybody seems to have a little pocket park. I can tell you right from the get-go that I wish that we had property available right around the township hall like China does, like Cotterville Township. I'm so envious of their little, I am, because then you can see it, and you can kind
You
of
associate it
protect it,
better with.
you know, and it just is, it's just so wonderful. So maybe we could all go knock on some doors. People to sell
I
us
mean,
the property.
it's even like remarkable what the county
And they
done,
already turned us
where
down.
they've gotten the lighthouse in Port Huron into an agreement with the Coast Guard to allow that.
Yeah.
Is that like the crown jewel of the
There's a
park
lot
system?
available out there, but you have to have the patience to search it out, to write the grants, to partner with people, and to get your community to agree on what the usage should be. One person is going to say, I want a dog park, and another one's going to say, I want horses, and another one's going to say, I want trails. And so we have to have it, we have to define it first of all, this little piece that we're beginning to work with. So it's a beginning, come and help.
Okay. The meeting is Monday the 14th at 7 PM right here. Okay, moving on. New business, item A. King and King audit presentation. Grace with the presence of Mr. King. It's good enough to come. and I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. We did do the audit. The audit went well. We have a summary of.
I like when you do the summary.
I was gonna say, how do you define well? I mean.
Nobody cried.
Books all balanced.
All right. I guess that's well.
Everything was according to generally accepted accounting principles,
Is that
all by
GASB?
GASB.
Is the GASB?
GASB's the Governmental Association of Governmental Accounting.
Okay.
Thank you. We can share one.
And so, yeah, the audit went well. We didn't have any complications this year. And whatever comments and recommendations that we have, we'll speak of that while we're doing the audit. And there was no official comments that needed to be sent to the state of Michigan, which that's always good. They're just, so from that perspective, that's what I mean by the audit went well. This summary that you have here, it's just kind of a one-pager. It kind of tells you, it gives you some historical data, and it tells you kind of where you're at. So the first column is March 31st, 2017. The top half of the page is the general fund. The top third of that top half of the page is kind of like a balance sheet. It tells you the assets that you have and then your fund balance. So cash as of March 31st, 2017, you can see you had 616,000. You can see last year you had 807,000. So our cash decreased almost 200,000. Our accounts receivable is 96,000. Most of that is state shared revenues. The period of time that you are awarded the state shared revenues doesn't actually come to you until the next month, and so there's a receivable there. Other current assets of 14,000, and then we have some accounts payables, the Detroit Edison bill and so forth. And so we net that all together, and so that gives you a fund balance as of March 31st of 723,000. Last year it was 883,000. You might wonder why the fund balance went down by approximately 160,000 or whatever that dropped by. And that would be the construction of the new township hall.
Right.
Or township offices, however you want to term that. The actual cost of the township, I think I have it here somewhere, was 199,000 and some odd dollars. And so if you go down to about halfway down the page, you'll have capital outlay of 202,385. Well, 199,000 of that was the township hall, and about 2,300 of that was a new server that the township purchased.
Right.
And so because we had this capital outlay, as a result, we actually used up some of our fund balance, and that's why our fund balance went from 883,000 to 723,000. If you factor that capital outlay in there, that 202,000, to the using up the 160,000, we actually would have gained 40,000 in fund balance had we not had this one-time expenditure. So from that perspective, you could say that the fund balance or the finances of the township is rolling along. It's just that we build a building. We took in $309,000 on our property taxes, and you can see that keeps building each year. So for the last 4 years running, we've increased our property taxes just a shade. Intergovernmental revenues is your state shared revenues, and that stayed fairly consistent over the last 4 years. That's 326,000. Then we had some odds and ends and various revenues, so that what we took in was 743,000. Out of that 743,000, we spent 238,000 of that on general government. That's basically to run the township. We spent 238,000. And again, that's up a little bit from last year, but it's running fairly consistent. Public safety is 147,000, public works 318,000. Public works primarily is your roads. So altogether, we spent 904,000. So when we took in the 743,000, spent 904,000, that's the $160,000 deficit, or 100%, or I'm sorry, the 160,000 that we used up of our fund balance. Parks and Recreation, and we talked about the parks a little before I come on the scene here, and the numbers were exact to my report here. You said you had 370,000, and that's what the audit report says, that you have 370,000, 370 with some change. So that's the amount of monies that we have available. And you also mentioned that you bring in about 17,000, and that's what I have here. You brought in $17,580 last year. That's the countywide millage. That's Casco's portion of the countywide millage that's allocated to you. We did spend some money this past year. We spent $13,000 on recreation and culture, and then we paid some capital outlay of $11,600. That capital outlay is the surveying and some closing costs and getting ready to purchase that land. So it wasn't the actual purchase of the land, but it was cost connected to that. So we started the year with 372,000. We ended the year with 370,000. We used up a couple $1,000s of our fund balance, primarily because we paid for the surveying and we paid for some of those costs in purchasing the land. We have the liquor law enforcement fund, and that's just it kind of rolls along. We collect a little bit of money, we pay out a little bit of money, and it pretty much kind of breaks even. We have been using up a little bit. You can see that there's a change in fund balance, the very last line of the page. We've been using up a little bit each year as we go along, and that's really a good thing, because really this fund should have a very small, if any, fund balance. What comes in should be spent. There's really no reason to accumulate monies in this fund. In fact, it works against you, so that's a good thing.
And then, what's that $772 due to other funds? What's that from?
It's been there forever. I'd have to go back in my, I don't know. I could tell you who it's.
It's to the general fund.
I know it's to the general fund.
I have no idea. That
3 or
goes
4 years ago, there was an account. And when
But
you
I
get,
thought we took care of all that.
no, and we've never, and you broke down the account and then something was owed to the other accounts, and that's what you came up with. And I thought last year we had written a check from liquor control for $770 to do away with it. And we looked in the payments, we never paid that, so we're gonna do it this year.
Yeah, you need to write a check to the general fund for $772 and whatever
Okay.
pennies it is, and then that'll just disappear.
Okay.
I thought we had,
I thought,
we'll do it this year,
okay.
promise.
It's okay.
Okay.
It doesn't really hurt anything other than.
Well, I know, but I'd like to get it out of the.
But technically, we're not supposed to do inter-fund borrowing. Technically, that's inter-fund borrowing, and that is technically a violation of state law, but it's a
We
pretty small
didn't,
little.
no, you had an account
Well, there was an
that had
account
to
with
be
money.
closed.
There was an account with money in it. When they broke down the account, a portion of it was general fund and a portion of it was
What account
liquor
had to be
control.
closed?
Long time ago.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years, something like
We're
that.
going, I don't know, if that goes back. Not
But if
before
we
my
don't know
time,
that,
but
then how
I
do
don't
we
remember.
know where to write the check from the liquor fund to what accounts?
General
General
fund.
fund.
It's in
You're
here.
gonna take it out of the liquor fund and you're gonna put it into the general fund.
Well, I wanna-
General, yeah.
Could you do some back looking and let us know exactly how that happened?
I can see. I haven't, I don't,
It's gotta be there
it's-
somewhere.
I'm sure that's happened in our time, because we've been doing the
Yeah.
audit for a long time.
Yes.
But I don't, I don't remember how that all happened, but I can take a
Ask
look.
Brian, he might.
Well, we can go back and take a look.
Well,
It'll be pretty easy for us to go back, because we could follow this back to when
Right.
it wasn't, and when it wasn't there,
Right.
yeah, and that's
and
what I.
and then try to
yeah,
figure out what happened.
Yeah, do that.
It's just a puzzle.
It's really, well, maybe. I'm not sure if it's worth a very big effort. We want to get the money out of the liquor fund and to the general fund anyway, so we really want to pay this out, so
Yeah.
it's really working in your advantage as far as that goes.
All right.
We don't want to keep it in the liquor fund. And seeing as how everybody agrees that it should be paid,
Okay.
it just needs to be paid. But if you want me to look back in my records,
I really would like
I
that.
can see if I can
I'll
find
write the
something.
check, but
I'll see
I
what I
want
can do.
something to go with it.
I can do that.
Okay.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
Yeah, in the Parks and Recreation, could you define in the expenditures the recreation and culture?
Yeah, I can. We had to do, in order to go for grant money, we had to do a park and recreation master plan. And that was, I think, 6,500. Then we had to spend 2,500 to do a grant for acquisition. And I'd have to think harder on what the rest was, but that's where it was. So, because if you don't have an up-to-date master plan, you can't apply for any grants. And ours has been since 2005, so we had to do it.
Recreation and culture just sounds like an expensive party.
Yes, that none of us got to attend. Black tie only.
Just on this page 7, where they says, property taxes, 309,000, and intergovernment revenues, which is revenue sharing, 326,000. Remember when that was much higher?
Yeah.
Lansing took a lot of that.
Yeah.
away.
Well, that's because our population went down by
It
15%.
Yeah, but the big hunk of it was the state took a lot of that.
took-
Population.
No, they
But it
took-
also took away.
Yeah,
But
all
our
the
population
statutory
is growing,
revenue
our
sharing they took
SEV is
away.
growing, our taxable value will be growing.
Population won't grow till 2020.
Well,
And that's what happened. We went
No,
from
the
47
biggest hit
in
we took-
2010.
Buys a car.
We went from 4,700 to 4,100.
The biggest hit we took is when Lansing stripped away the statutory revenue.
Thank
sharing.
you. That's what I was trying to
That's the
think of.
biggest hit we took.
Yeah, statutory.
It had nothing to do with, well, property values and dropping had a thing, but the biggest hunk was the revenue sharing,
Yeah, statutory.
which they used to balance the budget, and then they got themselves in trouble. You notice they never crow about that when they have a township function, they're there.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, they did it on our backs, that's how they balance that budget.
Okay.
thank you, Mr. King, very much.
Yes, thank you, sir.
I guess the only thing I'd like to point out was, the other big hit we took last year was we spent 130,000 on Melvin Green.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
came right out of our bank account. So if you'd have taken that away off the 160,000, we'd only been 30 in the hole for the year.
Right.
But rather than pay interest on it, we paid it off.
When you say long-term debt on there, is that something like a 20 or 30-year payment, let's say?
Like a bond?
Yeah. Is that what you mean by long-term debt?
You have long-term, you don't have?
No, we don't have it, it says in your report. But is that what, like a bond paying off?
If we
If there
didn't
is
pay-
long-term debt?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of townships, when they would have done your township front, they would have built another, and then they would have done this and they'd have done that. Next thing you know, it would have been $1.5 million project. And so they don't have $1.5 million in their checking account, so then they have to issue a bond, and then they're gonna pay back, $25,000 a year for the next 30 years.
Right.
And then that's what the long-term debt would be.
Okay.
So we did it on time, under budget, with money that we had, not borrowed.
Yeah,
Right.
that's really unusual. All of that's unusual.
And then we increased, it's not on paper or anything, but we increased our assets when the supervisor of the township got all of the office furniture for free.
Yeah.
That would have been another, I can't even imagine how much that would have been.
It wasn't bad.
And that
like
was
it
gratis. That would have been thousands.
Yeah.
So, and it's brand new looking and it matches perfectly. And so kudos to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's what long-term debt is. Is when you borrow money for something and then you pay it back over a long period
I
of
say,
time.
okay. Thought
That
so.
would have been if we hadn't paid that drain off, that would,
Yeah, that would have been long.
that would have been a long-term debt. At what were they charging us? 5%,
4% interest if you don't pay it off.
4.5% interest? And that's what all those people on the, like the Pelton drain, 20-year drain. And if they don't pay it off up front, they're carrying that debt.
Okay, we would need a motion to accept the audit.
I make a motion to accept the audit for 2017.
I'll support that.
Moved and supported to accept the audit. Any discussion? Have a roll call vote, please.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Pat, yes, Bill,
All right,
and Colin.
Yes.
motion carries. The next item is Parks and Recreation, 2017 millage request. Every year, we approve this and send it to the county, and in about 6 to 8 weeks, they send us our money. This year, it is like 17,564, so $16 less than last year. But it's close.
Is that based on what we send them?
Yeah, it's a percentage of,
Okay.
yeah, and they tell me the reason it went down was Headley bid a few communities, and the veterans tax exemption on their property for life has had an effect, that little bit. So it's been pretty in the 17,000 range for quite a while. So but that's our total income, other than a couple thousand, we rent part of it for farming. But when you do that, you have to pay tax. So we're not getting rich renting it for farming.
No, we're not getting rich on interest.
So, anyway, we would need to approve the 2017 millage request.
Do you need a number in there?
For 17.
17,564.
Yeah.
I would move that we approve the millage request, Parks and Rec millage request for $17,564.
I'll support that.
Moved and supported to approve the millage request of St. Clair County for Park and Rec's money. Any discussion? Have a roll call vote, please.
Okay. Colleen,
Yes.
Bill,
Aye.
Pat, yes, Joe,
Yes.
and Dave.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Payment of the bills.
Any questions about the bill?
If there are no questions, I'll make a motion the bills be paid.
I'll support that.
Okay.
Moved and supported to pay the bills. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, the parking lots look great.
Don't they?
Hess did a very good job.
If you notice on the second page, that's why we spent so much money this month, because we had the limestone, and they also paved 8/10 of a mile of St. Clair Highway. So the road commission got $158,000 this month. And then we had $9,000 to do our parking lot. So that's why we had a lot of money going out this month.
Yep.
Any other discussion?
Nope.
Have a
And a
roll
nice
call.
thank you to Mr. Franz for the new flower boxes out front.
He paid for those?
He
No,
built
we
them.
did work.
He built them.
Mr.
And
Franz.
No.
That's not
Mr. what's his
Franz.
name? LaForest. And he brought all the flowers himself. Isn't that nice? All the
I'm
all
going
the
Franz.
animals. Oh, LaForest.
Forrest, Dennis.
I'm
Yeah,
still
we
thinking
granted
of the,
him
I'm
the
still thinking of the
easement,
property
he
that we
bought us.
No, yeah, right. I don't think that would be correct.
That was nice. He built those today and they
Yeah.
look just beautiful.
Okay, you want a roll call?
Please, roll call.
Okay, Dan,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Pat, yes, Bill,
Aye.
and Colleen.
Yes.
Okay, citizens' comments. Anyone have anything they'd like to ask or comment on? Now's your opportunity.
So I had heard that there was a neighborhood watch meeting on the 17th, is that A what? Neighborhood watch meeting.
So Wayne's
Wayne says.
can fill you in on that.
I was over in China Township,
Oh.
just went over there and sat in on their meeting, to
Okay.
see how it was to be
How they-
run.
Ran there.
And I'm trying to get something set up here, I'm waiting on the sheriff to get back with me, and so far, no luck. So as soon as he gets back with me, I'm gonna call a meeting here and try and get something going.
Now, how do they do their neighborhood watch? I mean.
It was nice,
I mean, do they?
Yeah, Colleen was there.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I meant to go myself, I couldn't do the work, but, how they do a neighborhood watch, do people?
Well, they just basically watch to see anything suspicious, let it be known, and spread the word out through, social media. There's a website called, what is it? Neighbors?
Neighborhood.
Next door.
Next door,
Next door,
right, next
yeah.
door.
Yeah.
And I mean, that travels a lot faster, and
Yeah.
Facebook travels a lot faster than anything else.
Sure.
And they allowed, there were residents there, and they allowed them to tell their stories if something had happened, if somebody's mailboxes got womped down all in a row. They gave the date, and, they're looking for car subscription, or the description of cars. And there were a couple suspicious cars in the neighborhood that people had, they're looking and they're reporting. It was very nice, and the county sheriff was there. Wayne, I don't know why we just don't call a meeting and then call a county sheriff, or flip an alarm and see who comes.
Yeah. Wait 2 hours for me to get out here.
Cool
I'm gonna get him here.
I mean,
Better
I
get 'em
did
here.
post, the B&E, what happened Friday night in Meisner Road, I posted it on Facebook, and there was, on that other site too. Try and keep the people informed what's happening.
That was this Friday?
That's Friday,
Where was that at?
Meisner Road.
Isn't there a website, I think, called At Home or something, where you can get an app?
It's the same thing. I mean, I think this.
What's it called?
What is it?
Next door.
Next
Next
door.
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 It's an app,
Yeah, you can put it on your phone, it's an app, you can put it
Yeah,
on
I
your
get
phone,
it,
and
yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
puts
I mean,
something
and so
on.
far I'm
Anything
getting,
from free kittens, somebody sells.
Yeah, I
it,
agree.
whatever.
Well, yeah,
Whatever
they're
your
getting a little
neighborhood.
bit over.
yeah, but I mean,
Crazy with that.
it's just keeping people connected.
Mhm.
You find lost dogs and you, this and that, whatever.
Yeah, but seriously, if you call 911, St. Clair County Sheriff's Department, they'll respond.
Yeah, so let,
Eventually.
I've seen it twice, where they're,
Right away.
yeah, right away.
well, all right.
Okay, anyone else have anything?
Yeah, over the past year, I just wanted to note that I've heard a number of residents have said how helpful Roland has been, the building inspector, in seeing that their projects were done correctly. And he's really saved them a lot of trouble.
Yes,
And I
that's
think
good to
that
hear.
he
Thanks, I'm
deserves
glad
a
to hear
kudo.
that.
Okay, anyone else? If not, we're up to adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Support.
Moved and supported to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Stand adjourned.